Okay, today is the 13th of November 2014, and I've come to actually a very interesting site that unfortunately I did attempt to come down here a few times and was unable to. It's called Fairmile, and it's kind of on the back road between Wallingford and Reading, and it's now called Linden Homes. Welcome to Chelsea Meadows. And very, very interesting site. And I will come off the road in a minute because it's now obviously private property, private land with houses and things built on it. It used to be a Victorian mental asylum, and absolutely massive site, huge, and unfortunately I think it closed down in 2002, and obviously developers, bought it and have now turned it into housing, which is rather interesting, because I bet you there's some people that get problems there, from a mental asylum. From I think it's about 140, 150 years ago. So yeah, I reckon they've got some interesting things going on there. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to go there and do any sessions, because it is now private property, and if you start hanging around those places, they've got security, and I mean, I've only just driven around as an interested, sort of party in some of the property, and I was like looked upon, was kind of eyed up and down, which was quite weird. But yeah, interesting, very, very interesting. A lot of the outhouses and such like have all been, securely boarded up. But yeah, the rest of it, the main buildings and the outhouse, a lot of the outer buildings, it's obviously grown over its period, and has turned into really big site. I mean, I would say probably bordering on sort of 40-50 acres, and very interesting. Some guys just walking through a field, very strange. But anyway, yeah, so this is like a slip road. I think this is the original road, and then they've built a different bit of a road. And this is actually, literally a stone's throw away from the actual main site. So I think what I might do is I might try and do a little bit of an EVP session here and see if I basically get anything. I mean, it's not ideal, but fairly secluded. It's a public lay-by, so I'm not going to get stopped or questions asked or anything, and I'm actually quite near the site. So yeah, but interesting, very, very interesting that a lunatic asylum is now being turned into a housing estate. Wow. And I wouldn't like to be living in some of the areas that, obviously, where they had the real psycho patients. Quite interesting. Really, really interesting. But anyway, I shall do a session and see how we go. Okay, I'm here today on the 13th of November 2014. I'm here at what used to be a Victorian lunatic asylum called Fairmile, on the back road, or on the road from Wallingford to Reading, and I can no longer get in. I mean, I can get into the site. I think I would just be drawing attention to myself if I did this kind of a thing. People would, I'd be constantly bombarded by security and such like. But the asylum closed down in 2002, as I've said, and has now recently, in the last 2 or 3 years, been turned into and redeveloped into a housing estate, which is interesting. They've retained a lot of the original buildings. I think they have actually knocked down quite a lot of buildings. I remember seeing this over a period of many years. They've kept sort of the main central buildings, I think, and knocked a lot of the outhouses and such like sort of utilities, and they've also built brand new buildings on there as well on the site. And I'm literally a stone's throw away from the site, so I thought I would just do a very quick session, maybe for 5-10 minutes, and see whether I get anything. You know, I would prefer to obviously be on the site and preferably be in the building, but that's just not possible anymore. I did actually try to get into it a few years ago before they started developing it, and I was just refused point blank, you know, and I wasn't going to start going around trying to break into the site. It's just not worth the hassle, really. So I'd like to speak, if at all possible, to any positive and good spirits or ghosts that are around this area that may actually, you know, hear that, you know, that I'm here. You can communicate to me through this recording device, both the black and the white devices. If there is anyone here, I welcome you to come and communicate with me. If you can, maybe you can tell me your name. My name is Mark. Maybe you used to live here, or maybe you were a resident here at Fairmile. Or maybe you used to work here. I wonder if you can tell me, if there are spirits that can communicate with me, how many there are actually here at the moment. If you have any message for me, or you would like to leave a message for me, then please do so. I welcome you to do that. This is quite interesting, this lay-by. It's very active. There's a big bus has just turned up here, sort of a big coach, and there's somebody in a car behind who's left their lights on. I don't know quite what's going on there, and they keep bending over and going down to the floor. Odd. If you can tell me also whether you worked here, maybe you worked here, or maybe you were a resident here, a patient. Did you pass away here? Do you have a message you want me to pass on to someone else? Maybe you can give your name and their name, and then the message. I can see what I can do. Do you like being here? It is possible that there are no EVPs here. I mean, there's actually quite a bit of activity around with vehicles and a road, quite a busy road, actually not so far away, and I'm actually not on the actual physical site either, so it is possible that nothing's going to happen. But if any spirits who are around this area associated with Fairmile Asylum, if you have come through and you have said something to me or spoken to me, then I thank you for doing so. I came in peace, and I leave you in peace, and I leave you here in peace. You are not allowed to follow me, and you must go back from where you came from. Thank you very much for communicating. Okay, that's it, guys. I will examine the audio and the video, obviously, see if there are any EVPs, see if there's anything there. I've sort of playing some background music very, very low, so it is possible that they're able to use that to communicate, so we shall see. If not, I may actually come out here again with you know, EchoVox or GB1 and do another session. I would prefer to try and get on site, but I don't think that's going to be possible. Okay, that's basically that session. I didn't really hold too much hope that I would actually get any EVPs, really. You know, it's daytime on a busy road, on a lay-by that with people coming and going, and obviously I wasn't actually on site, so Sometimes I find that doesn't really matter, but sometimes it does, you know, and it's my first time ever really going there to do a sort of a live session, as it were. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's worth doing, and I will definitely go back there again. I might use the EchoVox GB1 and see whether I get any EVPs that way. Whether I can sort of try to go on site to do that or not, I don't really know. I think that would definitely bring in some EVPs if I could get there on site, but I think it could be a bit risky. It's not really worth taking risks, because it is a residential area now, so you know, these people do get very protective about things like that. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I shall speak to you again soon.